Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? My name is Julian, and I am the social media manager over at the Detroit Medical Center. Today, I just wanted to share with you all the work that we have done over at our hospital system over in Detroit, how we use our social media mediums to connect with patients, with employees, with everyone around in our community, and also talk to you guys about how we put the med in social media. So, the Detroit Medical Center, we are also known as the DMC. We are located in Detroit. We have 8 different hospitals. Those hospitals include Children's Hospital of Michigan and also the Rehabilitation Institute of Michigan as well. And we have all these hospitals. We started social media a few years ago. We've been doing it for the last 3 to 4 years now. Started off on MySpace. It seems like ancient news now, only years ago. Started off on MySpace, and we got into using YouTube and got into Facebook, and we had some really good success so far with having over 20,000 total, combined followers, likes on Facebook and Twitter page, over 1 million views on our YouTube page as well. So how I got involved in it, I've been working at DMC for over 6 years, and I've been doing Facebook and social media since it got started. I was on Facebook when Facebook was just for college students. It seems like just yesterday it was just for college students and not for everyone else, but I've been doing this since day one. So a great team at Detroit Medical Center asked me to kind of head up the charge and lead our social media efforts, and since then I've been Mr. Social Media around our hospital system since then. So the main question we want to ask ourselves when doing social media at our hospital system is that how do we make social media at a hospital system fun, with asking the question of, if you're not a patient or you're not a patient's family or friend, and you're not, have an injury or anything that you have to go to one of our hospitals, to go to, why would you want to attend, go to our DMC Facebook page or Twitter page or YouTube page? Why would you want to go there? So we wanted to be fun, but also, spreading the message across about our great doctors and nurses and our medical staff. So what we did was we started off by creating the DMC social media team. As crazy color as this t-shirt is, we printed out these t-shirts right here. Is bright orange, like construction orange, cone orange, where you can see across the room. And what we did is me and my colleague, Dan Foco over here, we started wearing these t-shirts around our hospital system. So instead of seeing us around, filming things and talking about social media, us in like a suit and tie walking all around, we wore these really, really bright orange t-shirts. So if someone sees us walking around, they're like, hey, you're Mr. Facebook guy, or hey, you guys are a part of the social media team. So by wearing these really goofy looking t-shirts, we just want to kind of identify ourselves to be like, hey, we're the friendly guys. We just want to spread word across about our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and all the things that we do at our hospital system. So if you see this color around in my slides, this is what, it's all about there. So we started our social media team, and what we did was we just really wanted to not just talk about our medical services. We wanted to expand beyond that. We didn't want to become a talk ahead on our pages. We didn't just want to talk about just our doctors or just our services. We wanted to go beyond that. So what we started to do was wanted to make medical education fun and interesting. So a few years back, one of the first things we started with was we teamed up with a local radio station popular in the Metro Detroit area, and we did this thing called the 9909 baby race, as you see up there. September 9th, 2009, we had this thing where at our 3 hospitals that we had, our Hutzel's Women's Hospital and 2 other hospitals, where we had these 3 mothers that signed up for this contest. And the concept was plain and simple. The mother who had the baby closest to 9:09 a.m. on 9909 won $999. As crazy as that sounds, we did that where me and my colleague were literally at the offices while social media contact people on Twitter were at each 3 of these hospitals. And what we did was they were tweeting this mother is, so-and-so centimeters, this mother's getting close, which mother is gonna win the $999? So it sounds like really crazy and cliche to do, but it got a lot of people's attention. So mothers came to us afterwards and said, hey, I want to take, if I'm pregnant, I'm going to go to your hospital, check it out, since you guys went to lengths to do this 909 baby contest. And then after, we kind of wanted to get a little bit more serious too. We wanted to do a live Twitter surgery. We heard of our hospitals doing it, so we just kind of jumped on board and wanted to do likewise at our hospitals. At one of our hospitals, we offered this orthopedic surgery, where it's this minimally invasive hip replacement surgery. So me and my couple of colleagues dressed up in scrubs. I've been to DMC for over 6 years at our hospital system. Never have been in an operating room, never. I've just been in my office, tweeting away, never been in the actual OR. So we suited up and everything, brought in our laptops, and with the patient's permission, we live tweeted a surgery. So what we did was we took, carefully placed pictures, and we kind of documented the whole surgery to let people know the surgery only took like 45 minutes. There's not really too much blood, not too much needed incisions, and we documented this all in real time. So if someone's following it from beginning to end, they'll see that, hey, that surgery isn't really that bad, especially when guys like us in our suits, like tweeting away, can handle looking at it. It's a great surgery to go to, minimally invasive. It's really good. So we wanted to get into, being serious as well, but also doing something kind of catchy and cool for someone to log into our Twitter sites and check us out. And then after that, we focus on patients. We focus on getting word about our medical services. We also didn't want to forget about the people who actually worked in our hospital system. So for our doctors and nurses and all the great staff at our DMC system, we wanted to do social media for them as well. So we did this thing called the ICU to hand washing contest. So for all of our intensive care units last year, it was around, we wanted to prevent infections. We wanted to promote hand washing safety. Everyone knows how to wash their hands, but it's really, really critically important, especially in the intensive care units, for our staff to do so. So we did this dance where we had everything, at 6 of our hospitals, we had the ICU staff come up with this kind of catchy dance. So they did this kind of like grease dance where they went around doing their own hand washing. So we did this, and we had an internal contest to get people going, to have them say, hey, wash your hands is fun, it's needed, but also we're doing a really, really fun contest behind it. So we did that and then put it out there on social media, got the word out there about it, and I think actually a local news station gave us a call after they saw it on Twitter 24 hours later after we posted up the YouTube video, and we actually got in the news 48 hours later. So it was just like simple social media, something fun that we wanted to do internally, got it out there, and then it spread like wildfire. So the main thing we didn't want to forget too, on top of talking about our different various medical services, getting a word out internally for our employees, we also really wanted to do the focus on our patients, to let the world know about how the services that we do for our patients are really good. They go beyond. We didn't want to do a cheesy video per se. We didn't want to do a video that was like the same old video that we all know, are out there about our hospital system, about your doctors, about your nurses. We wanted to go outside of the box. So what we did was we heard about this story over at Rehabilitation Institute about this girl over here. Her name is Jen Darman on the screen up here. And our marketing director over there at Rehabilitation Institute let us know about her stories. But she just saw her during therapy at one of our institutes, and her story essentially was she was paralyzed. She was from Windsor, Canada. She was paralyzed from the waist down from a car accident 3 years ago. So she's really super, super nice. She's been doing therapy, aggressive therapy, for the longest time. And she let us know last year that, hey, I'm getting married, and in April of this year, and this was back in December of last year. I want to walk down the aisle. I want to try my hardest to walk down the aisle. And by walking down the aisle, not just walking without walking regularly, but walking without the aid of her wheelchair. She wanted to actually not go without her wheelchair and actually walk down the aisle in her wedding dress for her wedding. So we saw this as a great story that we really wanted to tell through social media. So we followed her along, and my colleague up there, with our flip cameras, and all we did was use our $100 video portable flip camera, and just documented her tale of doing aggressive therapy, of her just going through weeks and weeks, every day, just really pushing, and able for her to do her goal of walking down the aisle for her wedding. So we just simply documented it. We wanted to put up on a YouTube page and just really get the story out there, not really expected too much press from it, just really wanted to share the world about her story. But the thing we found out was that when people see a really good story, they want to tell their friends, and tell their friends of friends, tell their friends of friends, tell family members, and so on and so forth. So what we got started was, we started putting a press release out and then putting a story in a local Canadian newspaper. From that local Canadian newspaper, a bunch of other news stations nearby wanted to get on a story locally, nationally. Detroit stations, Canadian stations, all found her story really fascinating, of her wanting to walk down the aisle for her wedding. So from there, all of a sudden, me and my colleague were, once we were just filming her, just me and him, to news stations calling us up. CBS Early Show called us up, ABC World News called us up, and while we were filming her, they're just calling away saying, this is a great, fascinating story. Let us, come and document it too and spread the word about it. So we were going toe to toe with reporters and cameramen and everything, and it was a great experience because her story was really inspiring, and it just was showing that social media in our minds, we just wanted to tell a simple story and just keep it simple, get it out there, and it just magnified because people just found it really fascinating. So what eventually happened was Jen asked me and my colleague and some rare people to attend her wedding. So we weren't expecting to go to her wedding. Like, we were just like Mr. Facebook, you know, filming her on the side. We weren't expecting to actually go to the wedding itself. So she invited us over there. So we kindly asked her, hey, can we live tweet? She's like, be my guest, you know, just live tweet about my wedding. I'm like, okay. So in the 6 years I've been at Detroit Medical Center and in my career in general, I never expected to do live tweeting at a wedding at all. So we dressed up in our suits and everything and had our, you know, camera and had our phones there. And well, on top of that, with the news going local and nationally, we had a great local following. The people in Detroit, really great on social media, and we had a nice local following where they're like, hey, are you going to be there at 2 o'clock on that day of the wedding? So we tweeted that out there, and we tweeted live pictures of her walking down the aisle. And when we saw her walking down the aisle there, I swear, not a dry eye in the house at all. To see her starting, it was like 6 months from when we started following her to seeing her walk down the aisle, not a dry eye in the house. And me and my colleague, we were like 2 guys with Kleenexes coming out of our suits, like dabbing our eyes out and stuff. You're like, this is crazy. I'm trying to hold my phone in the place, taking pictures. But we had a lot of strong response. There was a lot of strong emotional response, but it was more raw. It wasn't so boxed into the kind of same old kind of videos that, you know, places put together. This was kind of a raw emotional story of us simply following her in her inspiring journey to walk down the aisle. And from there, with all the national coverage that we had, it eventually led up to Jen and her husband having their story featured on the Today Show with Matt Lauer. And when in the middle of all of this crazy coverage, me and my colleague running around, we like totally forgot, like they gave her a call, and all of a sudden we turn on the television, we're like, is that Matt Lauer? Wait, is that our girl Jennifer? Oh my God, like it went up there, like social media does work, yay. And it just really showed us the power of social media as a whole, is that if you have my thing is like, if you have a simple inspirational story, instead of like thinking about it, trying to frame it up and trying to think of 20 million ways how to put it out there, just get it out there. If it's a great story, if it's a really, really good, you know, raw story, people will relate to it no matter how you push it. And if you get it out there, hopefully, like good things will happen with that story. And we found it out with her story here. So with that, I wanted to guys show you a little video piece from the story we filmed.
Do some sort of walking. I get up into the standing frame and I stretch. And from there, we usually put on my braces and I get up into these parallel bars and then I continue with walking back and forth a couple of laps and then backwards a couple of laps, side to side a couple of laps, and then we move on to the next activity.
We've gone from walking with a walker to being able to walk with the Austrian crutches for longer distances. And, you know, that applies to everybody.
I think my best memory of the day was definitely the walk down the aisle with my dad and my brother.
As soon as they opened up those doors, seeing Jen staying there with her dad and her brother, you know, it just felt like that was the whole reason for the day.
You're still my baby daughter, and now I've gained a son.
That was probably the one thing that I was really hoping I was going to get right that day.
Sweet wall.
And that was my presentation right there. Thank you very much.